This is web tools worth working with. So we are going to go through fast paced through approximately 10 different web tools that you might be able to use for yourself teaching or with your students. So the slideshow that I shared with you in the chat, does have all the links to the tools that we're going to look at, and then some additional tools at the end that have been suggested to me or used by teachers that I have worked with, that I wanted to share with the rest of you. So let me escape out of here. And the first one I want to share with you is it's not necessarily a web tool because it is a template for Google Slides, but it is the beginning of the school year, and I always like this one, and it is the custom sticky notes. So again, it is a template for Google Slides. So the URL is pretty lengthy, but if you go into a Google search and just search for custom sticky notes template, it will automatically pop up. It's usually the first one. It's by Learning in Hand with Tony Vincent. This has been the easiest one to work with. So you can use this for multiple things. If you're working with elementary, you might create post-it notes to put on their desk, might have their name, might have things that they need to know, whatever it might be. And every post-it note that you create can be different. So if I scroll through here are your two different templates. The first template is your standard, your 3x3 post-it note. So those are the bigger square ones. So you can, use all kinds of different colors. I actually created or bought from Amazon white post-it notes. So then I was able to create some in color. So that was a fun change up because if you're using some dark blues or purples, things like that, sometimes it's hard to see the colors on there, so it's better just to print in black. And then your other template, I did work with this one this summer. It is a little bit more difficult because you're trying to line up a lot more little post-it notes on there, but that is the smaller post-it note, the 2 by 1.5 inch. So in order to use this, you just click on create a copy. So it is going to force you to create a copy in your Google Drive. So it'll create that slideshow in your Google Drive, but it creates this template for you. So when you go through here, here's a blank one, and then here's the one with the directions. My suggestion is that you print this out from the start, because when you are working with this, you want to make sure that you know how it goes through your printer. So, these last few years where we've had some of the options to work from home, um, I had to figure out, okay, the office printer. How do I get the office printer to take these papers through without crumbling my post-it notes or getting stuck in there and so forth? So what I did was I printed out, and then I have little notes on here, the directions of where I'm supposed to put the sticky part of my post-it note, the direction of does this go up or does it get face down, which end goes up, and so forth. So I printed it, put all my little arrows on there and my little notes. So, for example, when I'm at the office, when I put my post it notes on, I have to put it so the sticky part is over here on the side. So then I stick them all down here so I can always turn my images so that it'll be at the top when I actually peel them off. When I'm at home and I create sticky notes, it's a little bit different because that printer takes it through the top up here. So then I'm putting it on the correct way. So depending on the printer at your school and or at your house, you need to make sure that you're going through so you don't get these jammed in the printer so nobody gets mad at you. But again, very simple to use. You create them. You can use different images, shapes, text boxes, whatever you might want to use in one or all of the squares. These squares cannot be moved, so it doesn't allow you to move them because they are part of the background. And then when you are ready to print, you go to Print Settings and Preview, and then you click on hide background so that dotted line doesn't print and you can see it's a plain slide. It would only have your images at this point in time. So very simple to create and then print. And of course, it does tell you to delete this text before printing. So, but I would print one out first from the start so that you can match it up with your printer and see how things work. You might have to create your post-its sideways, depending. Like I have to put the sticky note over here, or if you don't mind the sticky part being on the side. So that is, again, it's just a Google slide template, but allows you to create customized post-it notes. The next one that I want to talk about is the word search. And you're like, oh, word searches. Well, sometimes we need those things for the kids to work on if we're in between group time or they finish up faster than somebody else. So this gives them the option to maybe look at vocabulary words or different terms from a unit and so forth. So if you're looking through this, you're like, what is she showing us? I see TV shows and sitcoms and celebrities. Well, if we move on, there are more educational ones down towards the bottom. So you can see sciences are listed here. But then below, there is one that says educational. So if I click on educational, this takes me into different ones. So you can see US presidents. I have, natural disasters, math, and so forth. So as I go through this, maybe I want to pick fractions. We're working on fractions, but I know some kids are going to finish up their homework ahead of time. So I'm going to have them come in here and play. Be careful because these do have ads in them. So they can leave them open or they can close out on the little X, but you don't want them clicking on stuff. When I click on begin, then I can find my words. So, and then when I find a word in here, I would just click on it and then you can hear it. It goes away and you can see that it automatically crosses out. These are pre-made. So it has words, maybe words that you wouldn't use. So you're like, oh, I don't like some of these words that it has. So you're like, I want to create my own. So you can click right here. And this is the part that I kind of like and why I'm showing this is you can create your own word search from here. So if I click on the word search maker, I can create a title, create a description of what it's for, and then I can have between 10 and 30 words. So maybe I have 15 vocab words. Maybe I have, 20 different words from unit 2 that I want to place in here. So I can put those words in here. Be aware there's a few things and it has the instructions on the bottom. You have to have a minimum of 10 words in order to create it. Words can't have more than 14 letters in them. And then you can decide how you want to share these out. So, send it non-personal and then you'll get a link and you can put it in your classroom or something like that. So if I go back, then again, here are all the other ones that are pre-made. Okay, our next site is Flip Tiles. So if I go to Flip Tiles, or this is Word Wall, and I do like the flip tiles. And then once you click on a flip tile, there are additional things in here. And I know that I'm using a lot of our math resources, but there are other things in here. A lot of these do look very elementary, but then as you start going through them, there are other things in here, such as, some of your words, your word endings, larger multiplication and addition facts. So things like that. So if I click on one of these, such as we'll look at our IR words. So if I click on that, it is going to pop up the word wall. So these flip tiles, it's just a way to say something and then you have the ability, it's going to zoom in, I can flip and it's going to show me what 30 looks like. I can flip it back and go back. So if I'm comfortable with that word, the student can eliminate it, they're done with it. If they need to bring it back, they can bring it back. And again, it's just kind of flashcards for them to work on the words that all have the IR sound in them. So the other thing that I like about this, if I create this, I can also have other games or other interactives in here. And you'll see if you just go to wordwall.net, it has a lot of these already created. The flip tiles for some reason is not on the main page. That's why I linked to the flip tiles. But there's some fun games on here using the same examples and so forth. That you can use. So maybe the balloon pop, it's a racing game, so the students can start dropping things in, and again, it's just something fun for them to do. You can create your own. These are all created for you, so if you are going with the free, not logging in, so I'm going to drop that in there, and I guess I missed it. I'm not very good at this. There we go. Okay, so level complete, I got the girl. So if you want to sign in and create an account, then you can create your own and so forth. So again, I just wanted to show you what option is available for free that you can use with your students. And if I click back on the word wall, this is going to take you back to the creation of it, and it's going to show you all of the free templates that you have available, and then as well as how to create your account. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next one. Remove background. I do like this one, and I use this one not only for work, but for some personal things. Sometimes you have those pictures, maybe there's extra people in there, or there's like, there's something in the background and you're like, oh, I don't really like the background of that. Remove BG or remove background is a simple way to remove your background from any image. There are multiple web sites out there that do this. I have like 3 or 4 of them bookmarked. This is just one that's very simple to use. So that's kind of why I picked this one. So again, I am not signing in. I don't have an account. You can see I didn't log in or anything like that. This allows me to upload a file. So I'm going to upload. It's going to go into my images here. And oh, this is gonna mess me up for later, but that's okay. I'll figure this out. Well, then I gotta go to my desktop. I had my videos ready, and now I gotta go back and find my images. So here's an image. You're gonna see pictures of my kids, but here's one of my children. I'm gonna say, okay, I want to open this one, and you can see it takes out all that extra background in there. Okay, so I don't know if you saw it originally. So if I go back and look, I'll pull up the original picture so you can see it nice and big. So here is the image. You can see there's another kid back there, and then there's just some background, which I don't really want to see that stuff. So the remove background took all of that out of there, and you can edit a little bit more if you need to edit, but then what it allows you to do is download this. Okay, so I can download this, I can use it, and the nice thing is when I download it, okay, so it's going to download my image. I'm going to go here and I'm going to just add a slide. I'll remove this later for you guys, but if I want to insert this image, so I'll insert it from my downloads. Here is the image. So now you can see, I can move it around and you can see that the background is transparent, so you can't see it. So it's nice. So if you're looking to, use something in a slideshow and you only want pieces, parts of it, and sometimes when we get those images from the web, they have the white background. This is a way that you can remove some of that. So again, it is just called remove background. And then if I need to upload another one, I can go back through this again and go through it. So here again is my original, and then here is my removed background. You can add different backgrounds to this, and some of the other sites allow you to as well. But that's when you have to log in and so forth. So I can't, the other one is, I I can't think off the top of my head. Hold on. It's right here. Remove, what's it called? Strip background. That's another one that allows you to pull the background out of it. So like I said, there's multiples. We're going to look at a few other ones that do this for videos as well. So again, use which one you want. I just want you to know that they're out there. Most of them are free and allow you to just take that background right out. Closing out of that one, our next one, this one is called Video Candy. So videocandy.com. So this is an online video editor. So it allows you to do all these different things to videos that you have. Again, totally free. I'm not signing in. I'm not doing anything, but it allows me to be able to trim video. A lot of times I've been taking videos into Screencastify to be able to trim them. Well, now I can bring them right into here. You can loop them. So if you want to create, if you want to create something that's looping, so it looks like it's happening over and over, that's how memes are made. Those things just happen over and over. So I'm just going to show you two examples, but you can see all these different things on here. You can add music and so forth. I'm going to trim a video. So this is my video trimmer. It wants me to add a file. So it has to be a video file. So I'm going to find this and give me a second because I had that open. Is it this one? This one. Sorry, I had these open earlier. Oh, nope, that's not the one. That's for the next one. Hold on. Where are my pictures, video projects? This one. Okay. So here is my picture that I want. So I want to trim out parts of it. So you'll see at the beginning, it takes a second to upload it depending on the size of your image, but you'll see at the beginning of the video, there's a part where like I don't really need it. So it's, him running down the, I don't even know what it's called, the track. But I don't need this part because he's really not in it. I just want the jumping part. So I can come in here and crop to where I start seeing him and I can finish when he lands. And then I can export it, so it's cutting the time from 2.4 seconds to 4.4 seconds. And then I can export this. So once I export it, okay, I can download my 2-second file, or I can continue editing it. Okay. So that's one option. So you can see I have my downloads here. It's ready for my downloads. So another option that I want to show you, well, let's see if we'll continue editing. We're going to loop this. So now that I have cropped it, so now I want to be able to loop it. So you can see over here, I have my video, but how many times do I want to loop it? So if you were creating something like a funny meme with you in the background with a quote over it, and you want it to loop over and over again, you would just say loop indefinitely. And it's just going to keep playing. So when I play, you're just going to see him keep jumping and keep jumping and keep jumping. And then again, it's going to download it as a GIF. So it's an animated GIF at this point. And with these, there cannot be any audio. So if you're shortening it, you can always add audio. But once you begin looping it, it will not allow you to create the audio. Okay. So then again, let's go back to the beginning. These are all the different things that you can do here with the Video Candy. Okay, next one, very similar to remove background. Or remove BG. This is called Unscreen. So this is basically the same concept of removing a background from an image, but this time we are removing a background from a video. So, sometimes you have those videos and, there's maybe, cars and stuff in the background that you don't want to see, maybe buildings that have names on them, so you don't want to be identifiable for your location. So this allows you to be able to remove that background. So you will see right here it says what type of video formats that it will accept. So typically our Screencastify is an MP4. Some you can export as a WebM, and then .mov is a very popular one as well. So you can also use this with animated GIFs. So if you just downloaded something from Video Candy, you can bring it in here and remove the background. Okay, so here is another example. So let me go back to my. So if I look at this large, let me go back to extra large. You can see I'm going to use one of these. This was years ago. This was when he was learning how to do his back handsprings. So I don't want the neighbor's house and all that stuff. I don't want all that information in there. I want it gone, or the background. So I'm going to open this in here. It's going to upload my image. And then just like it did with the still image, it does the same thing for the video clip, which it looks funny with this because there's no background to it, but it gives you the concept of what it can do. But if you wanted to put different things in the background, you could do that. So, you could put something so it looks like he's, on a city street, he's doing flips, while there's traffic going by him or whatever. So it's kind of fun. Again, you're just taking out the background. This works both with this and remove.bg works best with people. There are times where you can get it to get an object, but it works best with people because it's trying to take those objects out of the background. Okay, moving on. This one I love. It's fun. Especially if you're a person that uses your Bitmojis and, you make banners and things like that for your students. This is just a fun one. It is called Emoji Mix. So this one allows you to mix two different emojis and put them together. So you can see I took the world news and I put the happy clapping smiley face on there. So you can do multiple. So if I want this one, it's going to mix those two together. So maybe my kids play soccer, I can put that on there. So it just takes two different emojis, mixes them together. Maybe it's silent. We used to have silent Sundays at soccer. So you weren't allowed to talk. So I can make a sign with Silent Sunday. So things like that. Not every single emoji is in here. So be aware of that. So I can search. So here are my emojis. These are the ones that are available. So I was going to do one with a computer screen, but they didn't have one. So that's why I picked the newspaper. So then I can mix two of them together. I can even do something like this. So, he's peeking through and he's got this symbol. So, whatever you need. And then I can do the same thing over here. I can pick a different one. So if I want that in a strawberry, now the strawberry is peeking through his eye. So you can copy this. So if I copy the image, I'm going to go back to my web tools here and I could paste it. Oops. Did I not copy? Oops, where did it go? Copy image, paste. There we go. So it's got the transparent background, so I can move it around. I can move it over his head. You can see. So you can copy and paste these wherever you want. You can make them your favorite and you can share them. So if you want to share them out, you can share them that way. But again, fun way to mix up your emojis. Okay, next one, speaking of emojis, so let's look at text generators. So this one does have a lot of ads. So I do want to warn you on that one. Compared to some of the other ones, this is probably the worst one. But But when we're looking through it, it is pretty cool because it's got so many different options. So I know a lot of teachers do this for their bulletin boards and, just different letterheads, newsletters, whatever you're sending out to the kids. You can use these in your slideshows. If you're using a Google Drawing, whatever it might be. So right here, you would type in whatever you want the text to be. So if this is for my breakfast bites, and then I would hit go. Once I hit go, you're probably going to get an ad. Okay, so just again, be careful. I don't know if I'd let the kids use this one, but for you guys, when you're creating things, you can see all of the different there's bunches of them. So if I click here, there's even more here. So, if I want to pick one, maybe that goes with our colors. So I can copy it. I can actually click and drag too. If you didn't know, you can click and drag, and then it just brings it right over. Okay, so you can copy and paste it, whatever, or you can click and drag. So again, fun way to, change up your text to create new styles. You do have word art in a Google slideshow, but it's not as impressive as some of these. So you can't do a ton with them. Okay, next. Timeline JS. So this one was shown to me by a history teacher. It's making a timeline. So it is actually using Google Sheets. So it does create a Google Sheet for you and or for students to put in the information. So you can see if I scroll through here, it is going to give you all of the directions on what to do. Okay, and then it's going to give you examples. So I can run through those. And then down here, it's step by step, which you can watch the video if you want, or you can read each of the steps. So you're going to create your template. Then once you're here, you're going to publish it to the web. That's how it generates it. Okay, so you'll see our next one that requires it too. And then you're going to copy and paste the URL. So this does take a long time to create. So I'm not going to go through the whole process because every step is there. But if you see here, click the template, it is going to force you to make that copy just like our Post-it notes did. So I'm going to make a copy. And then you can see in here, it gives you, some information. Here's where you're supposed to put the dates, end time. So end, month, day, year, and then the main title, and then the text that you want to go with it. If you use an image, it does have to be web-based. So you do have to have that web-based image. So if you're getting it from Google, I would use copyright-free images so that they are here. Okay, but then you would just go through it. Once it's published, you would copy and paste that URL and it would generate the timeline for you. Okay. So again, this can be used with history. This can be used with other things. Even in phys ed, different, time periods when things were happening. So this can be used with anything that uses time periods. So a great way for students to, create it without having to create it on their own. And again, it's just using a Google slide, or I'm sorry, a Google Sheet that goes into their Google Drive. So the biggest thing is these last few steps of making sure that it's published. And then you do have to copy and paste your URL. So that Google Sheet URL. Okay. Next one is Flippity. So Rebecca will be offering a full class on this one. I believe it's next Tuesday for the breakfast bites. Flippity has been around for years, and he has been adding and adding and adding, and has really created a great library of tools to use with your students. A lot of these are for teachers to use, but some of them are for the interactives with the students. So there's a lot in here. It uses Google Sheets in order to create all of these things. It allows you to see a demo of how it works and also the instructions for everyone. It used to be an add-on directly through Google Sheets, but you now have to come to flippity.net to get any of these. So, and I saw, and I have not used it yet, but it is new. He's got the Word Master, which is like our Wordle. So, if you wanted to use this for, some of your keywords in your unit, you can create your own with your words, and the kids can come here and use it. So how does it work if you want any of these? And again, like I said, Rebecca will go through these in depth. I'm just going to go through it quick. You have the demo. So the demo is going to show you, how it works. And I haven't even been through this one yet. We'll see if I have one word right, but then you can see I can keep going through. So this is the demo, but then you can see down at the bottom, hold on, let me hide this little guy. You can see down here at the bottom, I can share this. So if I wanted to share it through Google Classroom, if I wanted to email it out, I can also create a QR code. So if I'm using QR codes with my students, or I can copy and paste the link. So if I just wanted to use the link in my Google Classroom, I can do that, but I can also click on the Google Classroom button and it'll take it directly in there. So Flippity has tons of different ones, and like I said, some of them you might use for yourself, some of them you might use with your students. So like a tournament bracket you might need for the end of the school year, if you're doing field day or something like that, you would be using this, not necessarily your students. A few of them are not interactive online, which unless he's changed them, it was the word search. So these are ones that you can print out. Correct. He still does not have it. So it's not played online, but they can click here, or not click here, but they can look here and find them. But you can print these out. You can put them into your Google Classroom or whatever for them to print out on their own. They're just not interactive. And I believe it is the same for the crossword puzzle. Correct. So maybe one of these days he'll change that, but right now I know those were the two that are not on online. You can see here another timeline creator, so creating it through another Google Sheet. So we saw timeline JS, and then now we have another option. There's a typing test on here with some already created sentences. You can create your own sentences that might use your vocab words or terms from your units. So you can create those things and have your kids work on typing. But some of the common ones are your flashcards. So the kids can go through that. Very similar to, my mind just went blank. Sorry. But there's other flashcard, Quizlet Live. You can have on Quizlet, you can have the flashcards, but this will do this as well. So they can practice. There's, it's not really grading it, but there's different activities that they can do. Once you create the flashcard, they can go into some different activities with those terms. And then a very common one for teachers to use is the random name picker. So it does not always have to be names. It could be numbers, it could be colors, it could be, different words and so forth. But that's a very common one for teachers to use in the front of the classroom. So if you're interested and haven't already registered, Rebecca is doing that, and I believe it's next week, but don't quote me on that one. So I went through those faster than 5 minutes each, but let's look at, so these are the ones that we just went over. Those were our 10 web tools worth looking at. So we looked at those briefly. Let's look at a few others. So, a few others that I want to mention, multiple teachers have been using these. Some of these have been around for a while. Some of them are newer and, gaining a lot of popularity. Rebecca and I always say it takes 3 times of teaching something before it actually catches on. So, like I said, some of these have been around, but they're starting to come back. So, the first one I want to talk about is Book Creator. So Book Creator is where you can create online books. You can actually have them printed out if you want through the company. But the free version allows you to have 40 books on your shelf. You have a public shelf that people can look at, and then you have a private shelf for books that you are creating and you don't want others to see. The nice thing with this is you can also have students join in and create books, and then you can merge books together as long as the books are all the same size. So if you pick a square book, all the students have to pick a square book, but then you can put all their pages together and create one big book. So it might be an all about me book from the kids from the beginning of the year, or maybe 6th grade, and then 8th grade, you're going to see the difference between the two of them, and compare 6th grade to 8th grade. So again, it's 40 books for free. So it's a fun thing. There is an app, an iOS app. And I have not used the app in years because the app used to charge a fee, and I believe it was $4.99, where bookcreator.com on the web is free. So I have not used the app. I don't know if that has changed over the years. Gimp Kit and Blookit. I spelled that wrong too. These are kind of similar in perspective, that where they are kind of competition games. I know a lot of teachers have used Gimp Kit in the past because it keeps the kids focused, and they're trying to earn enough points so they can freeze other players, or buy different things with the points that they earn, and so they're competing with their classmates based on the same questions that you have created for them. And I must have just duplicated from up there. Blookit is kind of a very similar competition type game as well. This has been gaining a lot of popularity. So it is a newer one. Kahoot was the one that we have used in the past, and that has been around, and Kahoot has come a huge long way. And Blookit is now kind of gaining, either just as much or more popularity. So that's another option for the kids to be able to compete based on questions that you've created and so forth. Boom cards by Boom Learning. These are just a kind of fun way for kids to work on flashcards and things like that. Very animated, very cool to see and so forth. But it is called Boom Cards, and it's by Boom Learning. Tall tweets. This is a way that you can create, take your slideshows and turn them into animated GIFs, which you could do that through Screencastify. I think most of us now have used Screencastify at some point in time in our remote learning, and these challenging times of teaching. So you have that option to export as an animated GIF, but Tall Tweets also allows you to take in a simple slideshow. So if I wanted to go through all 3 of these slides, which I'll get rid of that one, all 3 of these slides, and just have them repeat over and over again, Tall Tweets will do that for me. The next one is Flashcard Factory. This is actually through Pear Deck. So a lot of us are used to using Pear Deck through our Google Slides. It is an add-on for Google Slides, but this is directly going to the peardeck.com website. Inside of peardeck.com, there is something called Flashcard Factory. So again, I feel like I'm talking about competing all the time, but it is another way that students can compete is teams. You have, I think, the day shift, the night shift, but students can animate or draw vocabulary words, and then they can also type out, um, the definition and so forth, and then they have to gather points and go through. So, but you are creating those, so you're creating the term and the definition, but then the Flashcard Factory, once they're in there, then they have teams that they're competing with. Graspable Math and Assistment. These have been suggested to me by math teachers. So I am not a math teacher, but I know they are highly recommended by multiple people. So a majority of it is free. You do have to have accounts for both of these. I know Assistment tries to match up with your curriculum. So, depending on the curriculum you have, it has all kinds of lessons, interactives, and so forth that go along directly with where you're at in your curriculum. So those are two good ones to have. I did put a couple notes on here. So over the summer, Flipgrid, for those of you that have been using Flipgrid, or if you have not used Flipgrid, it is a video communication tool between you and your students. So I know a lot of foreign language teachers use this. It's just a way to communicate, and the students are actually recording themselves back to you, whether you make their videos public or private, but it is a way that you can gather multiple videos from them. It is a Microsoft owned web tool, and it is now called Flip. So if you see Flip, they changed their icon, they change or their logo, and it is just now called Flip. But if you have used Flipgrid in the past, all of the things that you have created are still in there. You would still log in the same way. It has been overhauled, rebranded over the summer, and is called Flip. Adobe Spark Video is another one. Adobe Express is very much like the combination, we'll say the combination of Video Candy, Remove.bg, and Unscreen. It's kind of a mix of all of those, as well as a publishing tool. So you can make, if you've used Canva before, so you can make banners and things like that in there. A lot of it is free in Adobe Express, including Spark Video. So Spark Video reminds me of the old Windows Movie Maker, where you can make short video clips and have them, zoom in, zoom out with a little bit of text and add sound in the background. But also check out Adobe Express and see the free version. Make sure if you go to Adobe Express, there is a button, I believe it's at the top right, that says Adobe Express for Education. Make sure you're going there because you get more things for free. And then, of course, the last but not least is our QR codes. I feel like our QR codes are coming back. They were around and very popular for a while. Then I feel like they completely disappeared. But they are coming back. Even commercials and things like that are now starting to have them on the screen. So you can just scan them with your phones. Apple phones automatically, if you use the camera app, it automatically picks it up. You don't even have to hit the capture button. It will pick it up. You just click on it and it opens up that website or whatever it's based on. My favorite, and I've been using this one for years. I was actually even using it prior to TCCSA, which this is going to be my 10th year at TCCSA, I believe. So prior to that, I used one, and I still use it, is called the QR generator. It does have an extension, so you can create it right from this page. But if you type in the QR generator, it'll pop up, and it's very easy. You can use sign in with Google, and it'll save your QR codes and so forth. But very easy to put on things for parents during parent-teacher conferences or open house. You can have the students create things for open house, and even a video. You can do a QR code with it. Flipgrid automatically, or Flip, automatically will create a QR code for any video that they create on there. So you can take that QR code, put it on their locker, and then as parents are coming through and waiting to speak with you during open house, they can go through and maybe see the welcome from students in your classroom. So the last thing I want to show you, it's not necessarily a web tool, but it's using Google as a tool for some things that are pretty common that we use often. So if I just click on a new tab and I do a Google search, as long as you're searching Google, I can use my Google search as a calculator. So if I need to find out what the 63 times 24, and you can see that it's going to come up with the answer. If I hit enter, it brings up the calculator so I can use more of it. It's also a conversion. So if students need to convert stuff from, you know, miles to kilometers or inches to meters, whatever it might be, your students can use this as a conversion tool as a calculator. Another one that us as teachers seem to use is a timer. So if I say timer 5 minutes, it's going to create a timer and it's going to start counting down. Now, with my search, there are other ones, they're from YouTube and so forth, but this one is built right into Google. And then when I'm done, it will publish a sound, and then the kids know. I can also use it as a stopwatch. So if I want to say, how quickly can we get back to our seats, or how quickly can we get ready for the end of the day, we can time ourselves to see how long it takes. Another one is a coin toss. You want to see what group is going first. Is it the red team or the blue team? I'm going to say, I'm going to stop my timer here, still going because we don't want it to beep. So I'm going to stop that. And then I am going to say coin. So if you see, then it is going to populate a coin. So you can pick heads and tails. You can say flip, and then whichever one shows up is the winner. So again, it's built right into Google and allows you to use this. Not only does it have a coin, but it also has to roll a die. So if you want to roll a dice, you can pick how many sides. Typically, we use a six-sided dice, but it has all the way up to 20, and then you can roll it and see. Maybe you want your doing something with probability, and you want two die on there, so I can click on it, and now I have two. Roll again, it's going to roll both of them. So again, these aren't web tools that we're going out to, but they are tools that are built right into Google. And I am going to stop there to see if any of you have any questions